Alright, what a lovely run. What lovely runners. Thanks for everyone for hanging out so far. That was Chameleon Twist 1, all levels. Now we'll have Chameleon Twist 2, any percent. We have a bid war for the chameleon color, which is has been sniped. It's now blue. Davey will be it, or anyone else picks it up. I guess that was Funyuns having some fun. After that, Light Matter, any percent no major glitches by Osmorn, who will also grace us with Anti-Chamber. I won't get this right tonight. Anyway, Anti-Chamber 100%. The bonus for the any percent run is still outstanding, if that's what I'm seeing correctly. Nope, we have met that one. Lovely. You love to see it. So we still have Hotline Miami, the bonus score attack coming up, and the Omega Boost upgrade to hard mode to see MASH perform at their peak. Otherwise, the next milestone is coming up at $3,000 overall, which is the Speed Dog's 4th birthday party extravaganza. Now that's a mouthful, and it'll probably also an earful and lots of eyes full of enjoyable times with the gang. So any donation which you put towards anything whatsoever will also help us reach that goal, to have even more merriment with the Speed Dogs people, with the community, with you all. I'll hop right back in to see if tech is ready, if we are ready to go, and can just twist some more chameleons, and probably also twist my tongue in the meantime, because that's some tongue action. Sorry for that one. That's my one. All right, and with that, we have ourselves Chameleon Twist 2, run by Quillen. And Kitsune is, again, being an amazing person. $19, saying, okay, so that raise was insane. And I'm going to match the CT1 damage to celebrate how close it was. Let's see Follow Blues in CT2, and don't forget a boing for good luck.
Oh, thank you again, Kitsune. She is the best.
And with that, let's have fun. Have a good run, good luck, and go ahead, Quillen.
Wait. Chat's saying stuff. What did I do wrong? Help.
You didn't do. We need some, we'll hop right back to intermission, and then we'll try this again. Nothing ever happened. Nobody saw anything.
Bye, guys. I'll be back.
Oh, no.
Oh.
We don't even need to be back. Wow.
Wow.
Tech is real quick. Just one button press or something. You just need to know which button to press, and that's what you get paid for.
All right. I appreciate everything, guys.
Now we're ready, and you probably want me to tell you as which Chameleon you'll be running.
Yes, because that was a poll.
That would be orange. You get to run as Fred.
We got Fred 2 in a row.
Saving your butt once more.
All right, we'll get started, and then we'll get some discussion in here.
Good to go. Take it away anytime.
All right, I'm gonna start in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Okay, so I'll have a little bit more time to talk this time than I did last time. Mro is still here. I do want to mention that Mro is the world record holder of both Chameleon Twist 1 all levels, which we just played, and Chameleon Twist 2 any %, because he's the GOAT of Chameleon Twist, apparently. I thought I was going to be, but apparently it's him, so... big shoutouts to Mro for being here and supporting and being an overall homie. Never has bragged a single day about being the best Chameleon Twist runner. Not to me, at least. So Mro,
you can still catch up, Quill.
Yeah, that's true. I could. I just got to try a lot harder. So yeah, Mro, if you want to take it away for some of the stuff that we'll be seeing in this run, and some of the differences between Chameleon Twist 1 and 2, you have a very in-depth understanding of it, so bless us with your knowledge.
Yeah, absolutely. So, as I kind of mentioned earlier, this game has a lot more similar style level-wise to Desert Castle, where it's a lot more open world. I'm kind of following along more of a course instead of just like rooms like the first one. The big difference is in this game, you can grab onto almost any surface. There's a few surfaces that you can't, but most of the things you can grab with the tongue, which allow a lot more fun platforming, I think, in this game. So it's a little bit more dynamic in that regard. And then there's a lot of death warping in this game, as you can kind of see from what Quill does here. He actually skips just a big chunk of the first level just by kind of falling off the bridge. And the game has a lot of like death zones, so if you can get your Chameleon to fall into a further zone, it thinks you're further along than you are, so it puts you back on the course further than when you went off. And just kind of depending on the way levels are set up, sometimes you can kind of skip big chunks of it. Specifically, with Skyland, this first level, normally the course would kind of go way out to the left, and then kind of works its way back. So you're kind of just cutting across. So it's a lot of fun in terms of trying to find shortcuts in this game. I think we've found most of them, but you never know, there might be more out there that we're missing. So it's a really fun game to play around with to see if there's different things that you can be found. We're still finding little things here and there, but for the most part, this is a pretty straightforward level. There's a lot of little small optimizations, but a lot of the mechanics you'll see in this game too is one of the big differences is the Chameleon has a little parasol, as you can kind of been seeing, and it slows down your descent. But it's really useful in this game because you can, when you bring out the parasol, if you immediately use the tongue, you can continue your momentum. So it allows you to basically slingshot yourself into further sections of the level. That's how we do a lot of the skips in this game. So this is the first boss. Pretty standard. What you'll see is Quill grabs a power-up, gets slowdown. So not really ideal there, but really not bad because you don't really need to have a lot of speed for this level. You're just basically grabbing the guys and firing it back at him. Ideally you get a ×3, and it makes it go a lot faster, this fight, but still pretty quick.
Right, we're at 2 for Chameleon's, was 2 damage-wise so far. And yeah, to follow up what you were saying about the slingshots, one of the things we do is the retraction speed of the tongue is faster than your walking speed. So if we combined that with the parasol tonguing mechanic, where it keeps our horizontal speed, we get to float longer and move faster when we combine those two techs together, which creates what we have been calling slingshot. And it's a really
you'll see it a lot.
thing.
Yeah, you'll see it a lot in this level specifically, especially for some of the bigger skips coming up. But you have to basically, when you'll use the tongue, it retracts itself and then you have to use it again. And the timing can be a little weird because if it fully retracts and you don't immediately use it again, you can kind of lose a lot of the speed. So that's kind of one of the only kind of things you have to work on when you're first kind of learning the mechanic of the slingshot. But once you kind of get the hang of it, it's not too bad. Probably the weirdest thing, as Quill goes, for these stairs here, which are really cool when you get them. But one of the interesting things about the regional differences with this game, and I'll kind of touch on a few throughout the run, but the main thing is obviously they're cosmetically different. The chameleons actually look different, but one of the kind of things about the differences is when you grab onto a surface on the Japanese version, the time it takes to pull you towards that surface is actually shorter on the Japanese version by like a tiny, maybe probably a fraction of a second. But when you play on one version for a while and then switch, it actually really throws you off rhythm-wise because you're used to that kind of timing. So it's really fun when you get used to one version and then you switch to the other and you try and you really struggle for when you first start up. So this is another big skip. We're cutting out a big chunk of the level here. Probably saves close to like a minute, I think. I can't remember. It's somewhere between 30 seconds to a minute. It's a pretty significant chunk of time.
Definitely not my favorite skip of this level. It's pretty easy. Like that one, go try that one at home. Really just need like one slingshot into just combining the tongue, or chaining the tongues over and over. The next skip that we have coming up is probably the coolest in the game, or at least one of the coolest in the game.
Yeah, it definitely looks very stylish with how it's done. But yeah, I think one of the interesting things about this game is there's a lot of like big skips that are pretty fun to learn, and some of them are pretty easy too. So you can feel it when you're first starting out learning it. It can be really satisfying when you can just skip big chunks of the game pretty early on. So we'll see if Quill can get this skip that we call trapeze skip, and we'll see why in a moment here.
Got it.
Looks pretty good. Yeah. All right. So what he's doing there is he's grabbing onto the trapeze and slingshotting kind of towards the camera, towards going kind of south, and he's skipping a big chunk of the level. That's another maybe 30 to 40 seconds. Pretty significant time save. It's a pretty tricky trick when you first start out. You kind of have to get a feel for the tongue movement on how that works, but it's really satisfying when you can learn it and you get it down. And it's been really fun to watch people pick up the game and eventually start learning that trick and incorporating it, because they always seem to struggle when they start, and they seem like they're never going to want to actually learn it or do it, and they say it sucks, and then eventually they learn it, and it's really satisfying to watch.
Definitely. I was the same way, of course. I attempted to learn it, and I was like, this sucks, never doing this. And then I got a sub 30, and I was like, okay, I gotta do this now. Otherwise, it's gonna be a lot harder to PvE. Man, stupid birdie. This is Mr. Burger, by the way.
That was a pretty good play.
I do want to mention one thing. I do have the chat up, and I'm seeing a little bit of the action happening over there. Nobody listen to Dreams WGH. He's a fraud. He's never played this game in his life, and I want him to. He was supposed to come over to my house to play it, and he never showed up. He's a homie though. That part's real.
And then.
Oh yeah, this skip is probably the biggest one in the game.
This skip saves like a full minute. Really saves a ton of time. Really satisfying to get, and it's not too difficult. And Quill got a slightly slower version of it where he got to the bridge, but he wasn't able to jump up to it. So doing that maybe only loses like 10 seconds compared to if he was able to jump up onto the bridge. But still saves a ton of time. And some of these skips, part of the reason we can do some of them is it's kind of tricky, because sometimes you're able to load into these sections, and then sometimes it's like the game doesn't want to load sections until you've reached a certain section. So there's times where it seems like maybe you could make a skip work, but then it doesn't work because it won't unload the previous section. There's not a ton about like the actual back end of the game that I fully understand. So if you like that kind of thing, maybe come into the community and play around with it. But one of the other kind of funny things is there is a few like invisible walls that the game has, but it's like almost none. And there's like a couple in the first level, and you would think they would use more of them to keep you from basically doing what we do and skipping big sections, but they just don't have them in most of the game. I just find it funny that they kind of thought of to do that, but didn't actually incorporate it very much into the game.
I screwed up hockey a little bit, but I did save it, so it's okay. In my PB, I screwed that up too, but a lot worse than that.
That was a pretty good save. That section can really rack up time if you screw it up. It's not too difficult to do cleanly, but if you do happen to screw it up and you get bouncing around there for a while, it can really eat away at time. It's kind of a scary section in the 100% run, because there's a carrot behind the goal, and if you accidentally go into the goal before you get the carrot, your run's basically over, because you can't get back. So it's probably the only like serious moment in that run where you have to like kind of focus, because you don't want to just lose it by accidentally going into the goal. But in the 80%, that's the intended target right away, so it's pretty nice.
I still need to do a 100% run of this game.
Yeah, the 100% run is pretty fun because it's a lot of really cool movement on grabbing the coins efficiently, which is like the main collectible in this game, as opposed to crowns in the first game.
One of the big differences there is that you can grab coins with your tongue in this game, where you cannot grab crowns with your tongue in the first game. So you can do a lot of...
Yeah, it really opens up, a lot of possibilities.
Yeah. Oh, this is Wheelrus, by the way.
So this...
he's stupid.
He drops these little snowmen that are basically just RNG where they fall down, as far as we know. So you're just hoping for pockets to kind of drop where maybe you can get, chain 2 or 3 grabs, and then you take a hit. Sometimes you get really lucky and you'll grab like 6 in one grab. They just happen to like all drop really close to each other. It's really satisfying when that happens, but that fight can be a little tricky when you first start off, just to kind of get a feel for how you should be grabbing them efficiently.
Definitely. I do want to mention First of all, we're halfway through this run now. We got 3 more levels left. Also, the game has a tendency to crash on this level and the next one. But good news, I have my memory card in place. So if it does crash, we will just be able to pick up where we left off. It always crashes at the end of a boss, so we'll just be able to continue where we were. Though it technically wouldn't be a legal run for the leaderboard, it's good enough for a marathon, so we can still showcase the game.
Yeah, and I wouldn't say tens as in it happens a lot, but on some occasions it does happen. And it's kind of weird. I've seen on different versions of different copies, like I've seen it crash on different bosses. Like I remember somebody once had it where it crashed a lot on Toyland. I've had issues sometimes where it crashes on the Carnival Land boss. So I don't know why that happens, but it's not too often, but every now and then unfortunately it does.
Yeah.
On console.
I have definitely had several PB pace runs that have just died to game crash, which is always sad.
And then this is a little mini boss fight, pretty simple for the most part. Just gonna grab a few guys and just do a couple hits.
I hate this guy.
It can definitely really screw up sometimes in a hurry if you kind of panic, but if you just, for the most part, kind of just stick with it, not too bad. It's kind of weird. He'll spawn guys underneath him when he lands, so you can actually damage him sometimes by just standing underneath him, because when he hits you, it blows up the guys that he's spawning and does damage to him. So it's kind of a weird fight in that regard, and there's other ways to kill it.
So far, this run hasn't been too bad. We've made a few little dumb errors, but overall, we've hit like most of the big stuff.
Yeah, I'd say for the most part, it's been pretty clean. Really, like you said, not really any big errors, and you were getting a lot of the major skips first try, which is really nice.
Nice RNG.
This little section with the X's and O's are RNG. Sometimes you get really lucky where you'll get like 5 in a row, and you just kind of run right down. But sometimes they'll go like all the way back and forth, and you can lose a little time.
It's really funny. Sometimes you can get a double O square, which you think would be great. You're like, okay, well now that I have 2 choices to pick the one that'd be faster to path to in a speed run, But then if you get too many of them, you end up being slower because you're overthinking it. And I remember seeing it.
Messes with your head.
I think it was one time on your stream actually, Muro. You got like 4 double O's, and I think you hit an X because of it.
Yeah, because a lot of times you're just mentally, really quickly assessing where it's at. Once you jump into the section, it closes the doors. You can actually wait a little bit, and you have more time to view it. But since this is a speed run, we don't do that. We jump right in, and you only have a brief moment to kind of quickly assess where you're going. It's not too bad because technically you don't need to know where the last one is, because you're waiting for the platform after it to rise up, which takes a couple seconds. So if you happen to hit an X, it really doesn't matter because you have to wait anyway. But like Quill was saying, if you get a few doubles, sometimes it can kind of mess with your head and you mess up the pattern. This next section is pretty straightforward.
No. Not anymore. I don't know the best backup here, so we're gonna do what I do know.
I'd say probably fall now.
Fall down? Alright. Ro knows what he's talking about. Dude. Alright, whatever. We're here.
Yeah, you're mostly supposed to just jump along those platforms there. If you do fall, it's like not the worst because you can just jump off the edge and it'll put you back up. The life counter during the actual courses are pretty useless because gaming over really there's no penalty. Some people question why it's there, but it's really just there, I think, just mainly for the boss fights. But taking damage or dying in the course is really no penalty.
Also, I'm going to count that falling there as a damage, so that'd be 10 for this run. 19 for Chameleon Twist. We're up to 29.
This fight you actually take damage or die intentionally because it resets the frog boss here. Normally he jumps around a few times and then he'll jump into the water and swim around a bunch and then he'll attack. Waiting for him to swim around, you can't attack him while he's swimming because he's swimming underwater, and it's so slow. Very, very slow. So we found out that if you just jump in and die, it resets it and you can do a lot of damage and it makes the fight way faster. Another actual difference between the US and Japanese, and another big reason we do the Japanese version, is the bosses have significantly less health on Japanese. So especially fights like that one where you can only do 1 damage at a time, really takes a lot longer on the US version. Yeah, I don't know why, again, they had that regional difference. One's a lot harder, but that's a big reason why we do Japanese.
11. Yeah, it's kind of interesting because, like, you look at Chameleon Twist 1, and they made the bosses harder in Chameleon Twist 1 Japanese over Chameleon Twist 1 US. But you look at Chameleon Twist 2, and it's the exact opposite. I think generally, most Japanese versions of games are the harder ones, but ones I can think of are this and Bomberman Hero are the ones where it's easier in the Japanese version. Shoutouts to that community, by the way. A lot of the Bomberman Hero guys have done Chameleon Twist speedruns as well. And we're trying to get more of the Chameleon Twist people to do Bomberman Hero runs, including myself. I would like to do it. Bro, you did 1 or 2 of those.
Yeah, I did a few, and it's a pretty fun game to pick up. There's a few parts of the run that I don't like of it, but I managed to get close to an hour, and which would have put me like last place on the leaderboard. I don't know how everyone's so good at that game. I felt pretty proud of my time when I got it, but apparently it wasn't very good.
I think I saw.
And then this is a nice speed up to get here.
Yeah, definitely. I think I saw Gumvy in the chat. Excellent Bomberman Hero runner.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, the best speed ups to get in this game are the sections where it's kind of just a straight run, where you're mostly just running regardless, and so getting a speed up can really save a lot of time. That one's a good one to get. There's going to be a power up in this next section of Toyland, which is again another really nice one if you can get a speed up.
Nice.
Oh, very, very nice.
My practice run
as you can,
right before this, I accidentally killed myself after. So.
As you can kind of see here, mostly a lot of just runway to just really utilize that speed.
Had too much entering this card section. I am now struggling because I'm. Okay, well.
That's actually one of the common mistakes I actually see, just based on the way the timing works out on that power-up ending, is it's just a little bit into that section where you can take a little momentum and you end up falling underneath the card there, as Quill did. So one thing you got to be careful of if that happens. A nice little death warp just to get up to here, as opposed to riding the block up. Saves a little bit of time. You can actually skip that section too, but it really doesn't save a ton of time, and maybe like 2 seconds, 2-3 seconds. And if you happen to fail it and get sent back to the beginning of the blocks, it really loses a lot of time. So really not something you would really go for until you really get to like a top level.
Yeah.
Even I skip it sometimes because it's just sometimes it doesn't feel worth it, especially late in the run, and if you're on a really good pace. And then for whatever reason, this is the only boss platform that isn't like a platform, it's an airplane. Don't really know why they did that, but I think it's kind of a neat little touch. I don't know if it was supposed to fake you out or something, but this is the toy robot boss.
We're starting G.
He'll do one he'll do one of three things to start off. He'll either shoot out these little robot guys, shoot out a cannonball, or spin. Spin is the worst RNG that you can get because you can't do damage and you just have to wait for the spins to stop. Not a ton of time difference based on the robot or cannonball to stop because they can both do damage and it can affect how fast the second attack goes. So I don't really know the exact time difference on that, but you really just don't want the spin. So kind of unfortunate that's what Quill got, but the amount of time that he spins is also RNG. So sometimes he'll do like a half spin and it'll be really quick, and then other times he'll do like 2 or 3 full rotations and you're just ripping your hair out.
On the bright side, we
for him
did
to
get
stop.
the 2 speed ups, so kind of evens out.
Yeah. That's a big reason why that this level can really vary on your time. It's hard to say what's an actual good time because with no speed ups, you know, getting around 5 minutes can be a really good time. But if you get both speed ups and a good boss, you could even get like you know, like a 4:30 something. It can really save a lot of time. So it's kind of a tough one to say what's an actual good toy land.
Right.
Just based on those speed ups and boss RNG. So this is Pyramid Land. It's the last level in the game. There's a couple big skips in this level. The first one is relatively easy, but can still, you know, sometimes trip you up. But you basically jump out into the void and you just skip a good chunk of the level. As you'll see, hopefully Cole gets it first try here. Nope.
Well, don't worry about that. We'll get it this time.
The fortunate thing is, after 2 full tongue cycles, if you don't get it, you know you're not going to get it, so you can basically just drop. So it's pretty quick at least to know whether or not you're getting it.
Yeah.
The next one is a little bit
easy.
further of a gap.
Yeah,
so the next one, if you mess up, it can be worse if you don't know whether or not you're going to get it.
Yeah.
Keep going for it.
We're going to do our best.
This is a pretty cool skip. I'll try and explain it quickly. Basically, when you grab a pole and you swing into another pole, when you let go, right as you touch it, you'll fling up into the air, so you can get a lot of height here. And then you're going to make your way over to the edge of this wall here, go onto the other side, and slingshot back this way.
This might fail. Went too far to the left.
This might work. This might work.
Oh, it worked. All right.
You have to get over the wall and then have the tongue kind of come back, because you can't actually grab the back of the wall because I think the game thinks you shouldn't be over there anyway, so it doesn't let you grab it. So you have to bring your tongue back around. So it's kind of a weird tongue movement to get that slingshot, but it's pretty satisfying.
Nice. We got a ×3 here, which is going to be really helpful for this section right here. We have to kill these treasure chests. And, well...
Yeah, they have 3 health each, so you can just one-shot them with the ×3. That's another fight that they have more health on the US version.
Oh, do they really?
So they're a real pain. Yeah.
Like I knew that.
They take significantly longer. I also think the ghost spawn rate might be slightly slower, so it really takes a lot longer.
And a lot of those platforms do a lot of different things. Oh yeah, the final boss, so we should be ready on time. Dude.
So the first phase is a red fire phase. It's kind of a sweeping pattern. The second phase can be one of 2 things. It'll either be random, or the fire will follow you, which is what we want and what we got. Really nice, because you can really rack up the damage here, as you can see. So if you have a good phase 1 with the fire, you can actually beat them on just the blue here, if you get the follow. And then the third is just a straight yellow. You can take a little damage here to go invincible, and then grab a bunch.
Time. What was the time on that? I'm not looking at anything, so I don't know.
It looked like a 27:40 something, I think.
Kitsune, the 2 on the yellow fires was on purpose. Those were intentional damages. I think that's 12 total. Thank you guys for the GGs in the chat. 2746, I will take that. I thought it was much worse. There were a couple times where I did some practice runs, and I got like 2956, and I was like, ugh. But yeah, I appreciate you guys watching, and please stay tuned for, I think it's Osmorn up next.
Exactly.
Their run. And I do want to give a couple shout outs. First of all, to everybody that came out and supported myself and Run for the Chameleon Twist runs, whether it be from our chats or from the community or whatever. I want to give a shout out to the Chameleon Twist communities. Be sure to check out speedrun.com to get our Discord page if you'd like to join that. We do a great job helping new people, I'd like to say. So please feel free to join that. Our total donation was 32, so I'll be contributing 64. What a great number to accidentally reach. That was not intentional. But shoutouts to the Nintendo 64, I guess. Shoutouts to the Speed Docs people, community, everybody that shows up for these marathons, everybody that donates to them. And continue to donate towards the Chameleon Twist World Record video. That's going to be fantastic. Yeah, I think that's about all.
Lovely. Thank you.
Oh, there is one more thing.
Go ahead.
Everybody, follow the runners that you like. I don't care about me. If anybody from this entire marathon, you enjoyed watching them, I'm certain their stream is kind of like what they did here. I know mine is, and I know other people do similar things. This is a very grassroots type of marathon. We're not putting on shows for everybody here. We are all like just normal people. Come hang out with us. So if there's a run that you liked, a person that you liked, give them a follow. Go back and look at the schedule, find their username, go give them a follow, because they deserve it. Everybody here deserves it. So, now, that's all. Thank you all for watching me.
Wonderful. And thank you for being with us. And with that, we'll hop on over to intermission. A final thank you. And as Quill said, check out the runners. And the communities, of course.